Hello rocket builders. As you can see, we're making some progress on our Saturn V. So what we're going to talk about today is the status to date and some issues encountered when printing that you need to be aware of and that could be helpful when printing your own. So stay tuned. Okay, so what have we done now? So the big difference this time, other than the fact that I've got some good plastic and finally getting some good prints, is I've finished the model for the SLA, which is the Service Module Landing Module Adapter. And it's actually pretty detailed. Now you're going to see it coming in and out of brightness because this is a pure white object, which is not what standard photography is designed for. Now, one of the things you're going to notice when you assemble these, you have a little key on the various pieces, which fits into an appropriate slot in the bottom piece. Okay, so that ensures all of your details are oriented correctly, and that is also true of the SLA going into the S4B stage. Now, I do have some dummy versions of the S4B and the transition. These are just to give me some fit tests and some size. I've included the modules on Thingiverse, but you don't have to print these if you don't want to. It's just useful for me as a temporary stage. Okay, so currently on the printer we have the interstage. Okay, so that'll be the next piece up. And the only reason I've skipped over the S4B stage is there's a lot more details on there and it's taking me a little bit longer. The interstage was simpler. Okay, printing. There are some things to be aware of when printing. When I added this onto my software and just started looking at, let's see if we can get the brightness going good here. It's still a little dull. Okay, so when I added it to my slicing software, I noticed some things right away. One is it was a 47-hour build, and it was going to take a ½ kilogram of plastic. That's a lot. Okay, so I looked a little more closely. Now, the biggest culprit is this part in the center. Okay, now that is going to be structural for when I build a flying version. When you're building a display version, it doesn't really matter all that much. Okay, so the big culprit was it was building supports from the base of the print bed all the way up to this piece in the bottom. Okay, so I tried flipping it upside down so the supports would only go this far, and that was a significant improvement. Now, you did have some support structures going on to the features on the side, but we went from 47 hours and 513 grams down to 30 hours and 306 grams just by turning it upside down. So yeah, that's a pretty significant improvement. Now, what I finally wound up doing is I kept it right side up, and I kept the supports around the edge because these need to be square and true so it'll fit properly on the bottom portion. And what I did was I removed all the supports inside. And this is actually still a decent print. I wouldn't do this for a flight article if you're building one of the flying rockets, because if you look at it closely, I don't know if you can see in there, but there is some stringing. It's not quite as solid as you would like it to be. It's certainly useful for a display version, but for a flying version, you want that piece going to be as strong as possible because it will be taking some stress. Okay, but that got me down to 25 hours and 45 minutes, 261 grams, which is almost half of the original amount of plastic. That's a pretty significant savings. So if you're building the display version, I recommend you print it right side up and go in and manually delete any supports inside. Okay, so that's it for today. The next time we will definitely have the interstage portion from the Saturn IV, or the S4B stage and down. I'm well along on the S4B stage modeling details, so maybe we'll have a peek at that too. But these pieces do take a long time to print. The transition alone, because of all the details, is going to take well over a day. It's about 30 hours predicted. So yeah, you're not getting updates daily. But in the meantime, have fun building. think I'm going to have to tighten all the bolts after this print.